Bill, I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for agreeing to share your experiences with PSYCH-K, which you've had quite a few. And to open it up, it's always fascinating to hear how PSYCH-K found somebody. So can you just share a little short version of how you found PSYCH-K or PSYCH-K found you?
Well, the short version is I've been searching for a long time, trying a lot of different things to try to improve some lifelong things that I've had issues with, from some psychoanalysis to therapy to self-help books to serious sports, that kind of thing. To when I read a Bruce Lipton book, Biology of Belief, and then the honeymoon effect, it just sounded too good to be true. So I started exploring it, and I was very skeptical. I said, this sounds too good to be true. I didn't believe it, but I was hopeful. Hopefully it would work. And thank God that it did. So finally I decided to take a workshop. Actually, not a workshop. I met with a PSYCH-K facilitator over the phone. In one session, we were able to resolve some of the issues that I'd been in 20 years of therapy for.
Fantastic.
So it transformed the meaning making of what happened. Didn't change what happened, but it changed my relationship to it. So I felt much more empowered and relaxed and able to engage in life differently or present myself or be there differently. So very, very good for me. I'm a believer.
I went from a doubter to a believer. There you are. Yeah. Right. And I love what you said, that it didn't change, that it didn't, it still happened, whatever it was, but it changed your relationship. I love that terminology because yes, it's not about forgetting what happened. Right. It's actually about remembering it and reperceiving it. So beautiful.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. And you've been working with PSYCH-K for a while. So if someone asked you, what is PSYCH-K, how would you respond to that? What would you share?
Well, there's a couple different ways of conceptualizing and thinking about that. One is what it does, and then the issue is how it does it. And for me, the broadest sense that I have of it is that it reparents the subconscious. It changes Rob Williams likes to say, we can always have a happy childhood, And for me, that's exactly the case. All our issues reside in the subconscious, and based on experiences, we don't necessarily have verbal. It's a feeling tone, not a verbal thing, and we have the ability to transform those relationships at a subconscious level where they reside. Most of the things that I had done were conscious level things, and the 5% of our awareness that's conscious, and we're trying to deal with the 95% that's subconscious, and it didn't work until I found PSYCH-K.
Yeah, you use a lot of energy trying to take that 5% and work against the 95%. Right. Absolutely. Right. Beautiful. Good. Reparenting. There we go. I love it. So you mentioned something that had shifted for you, which you don't have to tell the details, but you mentioned something in that first session you did. What's something else that you or someone you've worked with, because I know you do private sessions, has transformed, whether that's spiritual, physical, mental, whatever? What's something that you'd like to share?
Well, it's interesting, that's a great question, because what I found on a physical level, I've been able to heal some diabetes, which is, they say it's not possible. It's,
right.
It's possible.
But when you say heal, what do you mean?
Well, I've been a type 2 diabetic since I was about 45, and using the PSYCH-K processes, I was able to change the psychic meaning, the idea that we somatize what we're feeling, and it shows up in our physicality. And by able to changing the emotional meaning making, I was able to change the how it appears in my body.
Right. Beautiful. Yeah. So just, to clarify, is that we don't actually heal anybody. What we do is what you just said, is we shift the internal perception that cascades into the physical body responding in a different way. So beautiful. Good. Anything else you want to share around that?
Yeah, that's at the physical level. At the emotional level, I think is really where I had the biggest help. Is again, as a child, I was beaten by my father, so I was traumatized by that, and didn't realize how angry I was, and I was always went through my life basically avoiding relationships because I didn't want to have to deal with one, fearful, and two, just angry, and I was able to transform that into where it's no longer empowering my life and overwhelming my life, and so that's good.
That is.
The other thing is this is all like a pathway to the real benefit, which is, clearing up all the subconscious garbage, if you want to call it that, or the trash, the head trash, the poor parenting that we get, whatever, however you want to capitalize it. So the idea, it opens my consciousness to more spirituality. I'm finding myself much more connected spiritually than was possible for most of my life.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. Yeah, it really does address all areas. And sometimes what, people will ask me, well, does this help with my intuition? Which, I see as a spiritual conversation also. And the absolute answer is yes. You may not start with that. You might start with a physical issue. You might start with, perceiving a situation from your life differently. But it's like filters or sludge. When it gets moved away, all of a sudden there's a clear path for the spiritual aspect.
Exactly.
So, beautiful, beautiful. I love that. You mentioned that when you heard about PSYCH-K, it was like, no, this is too good to be true. I don't know that I could believe this. And for you, the choice was you did a private session first and then moved into the workshops. Some people just go directly to the workshops. What occurred for you over your doubts about that? Or what have you heard people saying, well, I'm not sure about this, and how would you help them understand?
Well, again, when I was researching, and doing my homework and due diligence, whatever you want to call it, I was hopeful. And so I just decided that, okay, since the result that I had with my individual session, it said, okay, this I need to know more. I need to find out more. And again, I was doubtful, but I met you there, and the processes are it's amazing how simple they are. It's not rocket science, if you want to call it that, but it is procedural. So follow the processes and the results come.
Yeah,
So,
beautiful. Thank you. Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say about the workshops, I mean, I've taken over 10 workshops, and people look at me and say, well, why? Didn't you learn it the first time around? And yes, I did. But one of the things that I love about the workshop is you're there with a group of people who are there to improve the quality of their lives. They're about healing, they're about sharing, they're about giving. And there's the sense of unconditional love that you get in a workshop is just amazing. So
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. The addiction is not to learning the processes over and over again. The addiction is to the space, the consciousness, the beauty that happens in the workshop. I love that. Thank you. And I will say that like you said, the processes are simple, but there is a procedure. So we do go through a step-by-step process of learning it. And sometimes that people look at it and go, I don't understand. Well, it's like you're creating a new language. You're creating a new space of something that you've not experienced before. And so we go through this learning curve. But once you get on the other side, they are very simple. And that's actually the catch-22 for some people, is it's too simple. It can't work because we have a belief. I did when I got into this. I had the doubts. You got to work hard. If you're not working hard, then there's no value to it. And this just tumbles that out completely.
Yeah, some people who are the analytical type don't get it because there's got to be more to it than and they don't. There's a feeling tone to it, and it happens on a subconscious level. So by definition, we're not aware of it.
Right, and we try and teach it. Well, we teach it breaking it down, which is kind of a Newtonian way of teaching, but it's actually an energetic quantum type of process. That's interconnected. One of the beautiful things about the way it works is that it's a connection between conscious thought, subconscious programming, and the spiritual aspect, however that individual defines it. So it's like the three-legged stool creates this beautiful foundation for us to work with.
Yeah, it's a tool to enhance our humanness. It's a tool to enhance our spirituality. It's a tool, we all have baggage. We all had, the same process, the developmental process of growing up, and unless we had perfect parenting, there's issues there. And the tools to deal with those issues are limited. PSYCH-K is very, very powerful in terms of being able to reparent or to change they say, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Well, the heart is the subconscious.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything that we see and perceive in life, it comes from what our program is, what the message is that we received at some point. Sometimes when we were infants, we received a message, and we don't even realize that that's why we're responding a certain way. So one of the beautiful things about PSYCH-K is we can have an idea, you know what, I have this behavior or this reaction, I should say, this reaction I don't like, but I don't know where it comes from. And what I love, and I know you do too, is we don't have to know where it came from.
Right.
We can just say, here's where you are, here's where you want to go. Let's work with the balancing, which is the transformation process, to move the brilliant part of you, which is your superconscious, spirit, and subconscious, to come together to shift that for you. And then you naturally see or feel less resistance. You naturally do whatever the behavior is that you're wanting.
Well, that's one of the things about doing this kind of work with clients, is that they, you know, the transformation that they hear, the healing that they experience, the quality of life improvement that they experience, it's just very rewarding.
It is, yeah. The freedom, the peace, right. Yeah, I had a client just recently, and she's like, there's no words. There's just like this openness that I've never experienced before. It's like, it's not peace, it's not joy, it's just, there's a space. Right. It's kind of like you have to upgrade your identity into that space sometimes. Yeah. So is there anything you personally have found challenging around Psych-K? Again, people are like, it's too good to be true. There's got to be something that doesn't work or something that's wonky in this. So we're just trying to be transparent. Anything you've noticed?
Well, one of the things that I find, and it's just, is that it's easy to forget how powerful Psych-K is. You know, having been through the workshops and using it, it's easy to get out of the habit of using it, because we are so programmed that we got to live with our problems. That, you know, that's just the way it is. And we're kind of like fish in water. We don't know that we're in the water. So the idea of the awareness that comes, and then knowing that you have a tool to do it. The other thing is wondering what everybody else is going to think. You know, forget about it. It doesn't matter what other people think. This is your life, you know?
Right, exactly. And maybe that's one of the first shifts we do is I live my life and I honor everybody that lives their life, you know, that kind of thing, and just get out of that judging ourselves based on what we think someone else is judging us as.
Right.
And most of the time they don't even notice, right?
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to share in general around your experience around Psych-K?
Well, it's I just love the processes. I love the community. You know, this is an international organization. It's been around for over 30 years, and the tools are there, and there's a rising consciousness about you know, spiritual consciousness raising in the world in general. And you know, the idea of being able to create community, right? It's the energy. Everything is energy, right? You know, we're at the quantum level, we're all made of the same stuff. So the idea of having a tool that kind of gives you the ability to shift and manage or work with it is phenomenal. And it's love-based, so I love that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Yes. So you do private sessions with people?
I do private sessions. We work mostly right now because of the COVID, but even without that, most of it is done over the internet, like we're doing right now. We do
beautiful.
Because of one of the aspects of Psych-K is we can do remote sessions where we can surrogate for someone else. Energetically, we're all the same, so I have the ability to do the muscle testing and do the processes in a way that as if we were sitting next to each other.
Right, right. It proves that interconnectedness that we have. Right. Yeah, beautiful. Would you like to share your website so people can connect with you?
Yes, it's BLB Now, or www.blb now, which stands, or you can go to beyondlimitingbeliefsnow.com.
Okay, same.
Beyondlimitingbeliefsnow.com. But I like to type a lot, blbnow.com.
BLB. So boy, Lincoln boy, now. Okay, all right, awesome. So we'll put that in the text also of the post. So Bill, thank you. It's an honor to talk to you today, and I've enjoyed meeting with you through the different years of the work